Chapter 57, Goku arrives, Son Goku's challenge. Chapter 57, Goku arrives, Son Goku's challenge. Goku and Vegeta stood ready to return to Earth. Goku, remember, you're only allowed to stay on Earth for one day, King Kai reminded. After a day, I'll be back here again, Goku responded. King Kai emphasized once more, remember that, Goku. I understand, Lord Kai, Goku nodded eagerly. One day should be enough. Fortune teller Baba, please. Goku added. His gaze shifted towards fortune teller Baba. To ensure a smooth return to Earth, they needed Baba's assistance. Alright, get ready. We'll depart immediately, fortune teller Baba said lightly, leading everyone to the Snake Way. Whether they were deceased souls heading to the King's planet or living individuals wanting to leave the planet, they all had to traverse the Snake Way. For the present Goku, navigating the Snake Way was a breeze. Once they greeted Yama, they could return to the world. At Earth, on a luxurious cruise ship, everyone seemed to have forgotten past conflicts and was savoring the food. Videl approached Goten once again, taking the initiative. Goten, about teaching me to fly. Have you thought more about it? Videl asked eagerly. Why the urgency to become stronger? Goten turned his head and responded calmly. Remember, greater strength often brings greater danger. Being normal has its merits too. It used to be about seeking justice when dealing with lawbreakers. But now, I want to become stronger, so not to widen the gap between us, Videl declared resolutely. Videl's confession of sorts hung in the air, but she was determined to express her intentions sooner or later. Feeling the unease in his heart, Goten decided to address it sooner. Goten smiled, saying, "Be naive all you want. But I've decided. If you won't teach me, I'll find you every day at Fire Mountain. I'll keep bothering you until you teach me to fight and fly," Videl playfully added. Videl was determined to win Goten over. Alright. Goten sighed. If I have the time, I'll teach you to fly, he agreed, acknowledging Videl's persistence. Yay! Videl's exuberance was evident. Videl's happiness at Goten's agreement was palpable, then she gave a victory sign to Goten. Seeing Videl's childish expression, Goten was speechless. Meanwhile, the birthday celebration continued with vigor. Goten's expression shifted slightly, sensing several approaching presences. Whoosh, whoosh. Moments later, with a rush of air, 6 figures appeared before everyone. It was fortune teller Baba, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Trunks and Piccolo. Krillin quickly looked in the direction of the sound, his eyes filling with tears upon seeing Goku. Hey! Long time no see, Krillin, Goku greeted with his trademark wave. Goku! Goku! Krillin couldn't contain his excitement and rushed towards Goku. Krillin, usually composed, was like an ecstatic child in that moment. Snot flowed from the corner of his mouth, an amusing sight considering he had no nose. The bond between Krillin and Goku was a complex one, brothers not by blood but by heart, understood best only by them. As others watched, emotions welled up. Seeing those familiar faces, Chi-Chi and Bulma burst into tears. The sight of their sons pushed them over the edge. Gohan! Chi-Chi sobbed. Trunks! Bulma's voice wavered. Chi-Chi and Bulma ran to embrace Gohan and Trunks, their relief evident. Witnessing this touching reunion, emotions surged. Goten saw the halo above Goku's head and the presence of fortune teller Baba, realizing they had received special permission from King Kai and King Yama. Though heartwarming, this scene eventually settled down. Goku after hugging Krillin, he walked up to Goten. Goten, we finally meet. You're strong, much stronger than me. Goku grinned warmly at his son. Chi-Chi interjected, introducing Goten, this is your father, Goku. Though familiar with the circumstances as a transmigrator, Goten hadn't met Goku for over 6 years. 2 years in spiritual time, plus the 6 since his arrival, equated to no interaction with his father. So, the feelings he held for Goku were unlike those for Chi-Chi. Hence, the word father is quite challenging to pronounce. Goten simply nodded, understanding the complexity of the situation. Chi-Chi wasn't hesitant about it either. It was an expected development, and accepting an additional father figure suddenly was indeed difficult. Goku, Gohan, why do you both have halos above your heads? Chi-Chi finally noticed the silver halos over Goku and Gohan. Bulma was equally intrigued and looked at Trunks and Vegeta, who also had halos above them. Chi-Chi, it's not a resurrection, actually. We've been granted a special one-day return to Earth by the King Kai. After that day, we'll have to go back, Goku explained matter-of-factly. Upon hearing this, the initial excitement dimmed in everyone's eyes. Parting after such a short reunion was more painful than not meeting at all. Alright, Chi-Chi managed to smile. One day at a time. At least you guys can meet Goten and let him see his father. Chi-Chi gathered her composure, realizing that the hope for a full family reunion was cut short. Everyone, let's not dwell on it. Let's eat. Bulma chimed in. I've prepared plenty of food today. I assume you didn't eat well in the underworld. Despite the circumstances, Bulma tried to keep the mood light. The food at King Kai's place was terrible. I could never get enough, Goku said cheerfully, oblivious to the somber atmosphere. It appeared that neither Goku nor Vegeta noticed the downcast expressions on Chi-Chi and Bulma's faces. Cut it out. Kakarot, you're always the biggest eater, Vegeta retorted, annoyed. Vegeta was frustrated that Goku, who always ate the most, was making such comments. As time passed, nearly 2 hours later, everyone had almost finished eating. Patting his round belly, Goku stood up and approached Goten. Curious, Chi-Chi and the others watched, uncertain about Goku's intentions. Goten, the primary reason I came to Earth is to gauge your strength. Watching you fight Janemba got me fired up last time. Goku looked serious as he revealed his purpose. Chi-Chi stepped forward, concerned. Goku, what are you saying? Goten is your son, not your opponent. Why would you want to fight him? Goku, usually enigmatic, seemed to have a puzzling plan. Goku, what's going on in your head? Bulma couldn't understand Goku's motivations and spoke out. They finally had the chance to be together again. It was Bulma's birthday, supposed to be joyful, but Goku seemed to have an inexplicable urge to spar. Chi-Chi, Bulma, you know Goku well, right? He's always been like this. Goten's impressive strength probably ignited his fighting spirit. They're just having a friendly competition, Krillin reassured, understanding Goku's tendencies. Bulma and Chi-Chi looked relieved to hear Krillin's explanation. Indeed, only Krillin seemed to grasp Goku's mindset. Despite the chance for a joyous family reunion, Goku's peculiar desire for combat wasn't entirely surprising. Come on, Goten, Goku beckoned with a smile. You're no match for me. Even without transforming, you won't last a few rounds against me. This battle is rather meaningless, Goten calmly replied, fully understanding Goku's intent. He knew that his father, a battle enthusiast, couldn't resist a challenge, even if it was with his own son. I know, Goku agreed, nodding. But I still want to experience your strength. He recognized Goten's superior power. Even without transforming into Super Saiyan, Goten's strength surpassed his own. However, Goku's love for combat couldn't be ignored. It looks like this battle is inevitable, Goten said, determination in his eyes. Recognizing Goku's resolve, Goten realized that the duel was unavoidable. Regardless, he decided to enjoy the moment. The outcome was clear anyway. Sure thing, Goten replied with a grin. The others stepped back, creating some distance. Vegeta and Piccolo observed closely, eager to witness Goten's power firsthand. This was their chance to understand Goten's strength and ki directly. Ha ha ha. With a deep growl, Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan 2. Blue lightning crackled around him, and flames like ki surged wildly. Goten, I'll shift into Super Saiyan 3 next. That's my full strength, Goku explained, a smile on his face. As Goku clenched his fists and his aura surged, his hair extended, reaching his waist in an instant. The ki of flames and electric arcs intensified, the aura reaching an unprecedented intensity. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Chapter 58, Son Goku vs Son Goten. Have some idea about the story? Comment on it and let me know. Chapter 58, Son Goku vs Son Goten. Chapter 58, Son Goku vs Son Goten. As expected of Goku, even after going to the afterlife, his strength is still ridiculously strong. Upon witnessing Goku's Super Saiyan 3 form, Krillin couldn't help but sigh. He had initially believed that after his transformation into Cyborg, his strength would match that of Goku and the others. At the very least, not fall too far behind. However, it's now evident that Goku's strength remains vastly superior. Tisk. Kakarot, that bastard, must have done it on purpose to annoy me. Vegeta's discontent was apparent as he observed Goku's transformation to Super Saiyan 3. Vegeta found himself in a constant struggle, unable to break through the barrier of Super Saiyan 2, while Goku continued to surpass his limits. Every time he witnessed Kakarot transform into Super Saiyan 3, an inexplicable anger would well up within him. Nearby, Videl was left utterly bewildered. Just a few months prior, she had believed her father to be the most formidable man in the world. The current revelation, however, left her with a sense of amusement. The strength exhibited by these individuals before her seemed to outshine her father's abilities. As she took a closer look, she recognized the individuals with halos above their heads, the same ones who had battled Cell 8 years prior. Videl had come across preserved videos from that time and could now put names to the faces. It truly is them. They're the ones who fought against Cell 8 years ago. Videl's realization was clear. She then shifted her gaze toward her dad, who was visibly embarrassed. The feeling of guilt had intensified as he stood beside Goku and Vegeta, realizing how he had undeservedly taken credit for their hard-earned accomplishments. Thankfully, this time, it seemed that their arrival wasn't directly related to that issue. A rustling sound signaled an escalation in Goku's ki, his golden halo shining brilliantly atop his golden hair. It was evident that Goku's strength was nearing its peak in Super Saiyan 3. Goten, aren't you planning to transform? Goku inquired after adopting his Super Saiyan 3 form. I don't think there is the need to, Goten replied, shaking his head. His refusal wasn't rooted in arrogance, but rather a practical understanding. Transforming into a Super Saiyan would grant him enough power to defeat Goku in an instant, rendering the battle meaningless for him. Indeed, there's no need for such a display. In that case, I'll make the first move. Goku formed claws with his hands, assuming a turtle hermit fighting stance. With a resounding cry, he darted forward like a lightning, leaving an afterimage in his wake. While Krillin and Piccolo struggled to keep up, Vegeta and Gohan were better equipped to follow Goku's speed with their own eyes. Ah! Goku's roar preceded a direct punch aimed at Goten. However, Goku employed only half his strength, as was his fighting style. The initial blow was never meant to be decisive. Despite his current Super Saiyan 3 form, Goku intended to gradually escalate his strength, all while gauging Goten's capabilities. In Goten's eyes, Goku's attack appeared weak in both speed and strength. He extended his palm effortlessly blocking Goku's strike. With a casual tone, he advised, it's better to fight at full strength. Unnecessary temptations aren't required. He recognized Goku's habit of starting battles without fully exerting himself, just as he had done in the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power competition against the immensely powerful Jiren. Goku acknowledged, you're right. It's time to use my full strength. His demeanor shifted, and his power surged. A brilliant golden key engulfed the surroundings, a clear indicator that Goku had reached the peak of Super Saiyan 3. Goten, are you planning on transform? Goku inquired again. No need, Goten confirmed, his confidence unwavering. This wasn't arrogance, but a logical decision. Transforming would make the battle one-sided, and he sought a genuine challenge. Goku clenched his fists, assuming a fighting stance, and launched into action like a cheetah. His speed was astonishing, leaving only an afterimage for Krillin and Piccolo to track. Only Vegeta and Gohan could follow Goku's movements with their own eyes. Goku's attack was a storm of fists, producing countless afterimages. Goten, however, effortlessly blocked every blow with a single hand, demonstrating the glaring disparity in their strengths. Goku's attack was relentless, but it proved futile against Goten's impenetrable defense. Even though Goku had achieved Super Saiyan 3, their power differential was vast. Damn it! Not a single hit landing, Goku grumbled inwardly. Moreover, it seems he's even stronger than he was just half a month ago. The contrast between Goten's current strength and his previous state was astonishing. Goten's newfound power was beyond Goku's expectations, and he was left marveling at his growth. As Goku continued to barrage Goten with punches, the latter effortlessly deflected each attack. Piccolo and Vegeta, who observed the battle, were equally astonished. Goten's strength has surged dramatically. Training intensively for half a month shouldn't yield such immense progress. Why is he improving so rapidly? Piccolo closely analyzed the duel, grappling with the concept that Goten's abilities had surpassed his understanding of Saiyan capabilities. This insolent brat. There must be a limit to his audacity. Vegeta's expression contorted in displeasure. He couldn't help but feel frustrated. Despite both he and Kakarot undergoing rigorous training on King Kai's planet, the gap between them hadn't closed, in fact, it had widened. Kakarot, even at his peak, was no match for Goten's current strength. Goten! If you continue to merely defend, this battle will drag on. Let me experience your full power. Goku urged, recognizing that Goten hadn't unleashed his full potential. From the battle's outset until now, Goku had been the proactive combatant, and he wanted Goten to fully engage in the fight. Very well, I agree, I should be more active, Goten responded, his demeanor growing more serious. In all honesty, this battle lacked excitement for him and failed to pique his interest. But given Goku's request, he aimed to conclude it swiftly. Noting Goten's commitment, Goku nodded in acknowledgement. He lightly tapped his toes against the ground, retreating several tens of feet. In an instant, he clasped his hands together, conjuring his signature move. Instantaneously, a blue energy materialized within his palm. Mi, ha, we, a. As the energy coalesced, Goku unleashed his powerful Kamehameha directly at Goten. The blue dragon surged forward, crashing into Goten. Goten! Both Chi-Chi and Videl exclaimed in surprise. They hadn't anticipated Goku fighting his own son using the Kamehameha. Amid the onlookers, Goten was engulfed by the blue energy, leaving everyone astonished. However, his aura remained unchanged, indicating that Goku's formidable attack hadn't affected him. Goku's face darkened as he realized that Goten's strength remained undeterred. The lack of impact meant that even Goku's most potent Kamehameha couldn't harm Goten. Piccolo and Gohan, watching closely, shared the same shock. They sensed no weakening of Goten's energy, despite the direct hit from Goku's attack. As the blue energy subsided, Goten emerged unscathed, his body intact despite the direct impact of the Kamehameha blast. The scene left everyone gasping, considering the immense power behind Goku's attack. It's over. Goten's quiet proclamation marked a turning point. In an instant, an afterimage remained where he had stood. His body, having closed the gap, delivered a swift punch to Goku's abdomen. A resounding boom followed the low collision, propelling Goku backward. Upon hitting the ground heavily, Goku reverted from his Super Saiyan 3 state, clutching his stomach in agony and drenched in sweat. Goten's punch, while seemingly light for him, had incapacitated Goku. Dad! Goku! Gohan and Piccolo rushed to assist Goku, offering their support. Goku, eat a senzu bean. Krillin handed Goku a senzu bean urgently. Goten's punch had left a significant impact. After consuming the senzu bean, the searing pain subsided instantly. Goku was quick to recover. Goten, your strength is impressive. The gap in strength between us is indeed big. Having recuperated, Goku approached Goten once more, his respect evident. Despite recognizing Goten's superior strength, Goku harbored no jealousy or envy. Instead, he felt genuine pride and happiness. Goten responded with a smile. Meanwhile, in the world of the Supreme Kai, Supreme Kai and the others were leisurely sipping tea. With Bu and Janemba neutralized, the universe was free from imminent threats. This serene moment was largely attributed to Goten's assistance. Without him, Universe's fate might have been much grimmer, given the destructive power wielded by Janemba and Majin Bu. Elder, this tea is quite good, Supreme Kai Shin commented after a sip. Though your strength is considerably low, making tea seems to be a forte of yours, he remarked, addressing the elder Supreme Kai. Tea making requires not only skill but also inner peace. Your tea is as serene as your spirit, the elder Supreme Kai added, offering a compliment that extended beyond the brewing process. Indeed, making tea was a reflection of one's state of mind. A person with a gentle disposition brewed clear tea, while a volatile individual produced murky tea. Hence, the Supreme Kai's choice in candidates often included a tea-making test. Thank you, Elder Kai, for your kind words, Supreme Kai responded, humbled by the commendation. In the midst of their conversation, the elder Supreme Kai's expression suddenly changed. A teacup slipped from his grasp, shattering on impact. He stood abruptly, his gaze fixed on the sky, eyes wide with alarm. Elder Kai, what's the matter? Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito inquired, baffled by the elder Supreme Kai's abrupt shift in demeanor. Several stars vanished in a mere moment. The elder Supreme Kai's tone was fraught with trepidation as he continued, this sensation. It can't be wrong. That being has awakened, face screaming in fear. Both Supreme Kai and Kibito were puzzled, unable to grasp the meaning of his words. Who's this being you're referring to? What are you talking about? Stars disappeared within seconds, and I can feel it, the being is awake. The elder Supreme Kai's gaze remained fixed on the sky, his expression a mix of terror and dread. Despite the presence of countless formidable beings capable of obliterating planets, the elder Supreme Kai's response hinted at a fear unlike any other. Being? Master Ancestor, please explain. Who is this being? Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito exchanged baffled glances, struggling to comprehend the elder Supreme Kai's cryptic utterances. The God of Destruction. Lord Beerus' weary cat face. Idiot, didn't you sense it? The elder Supreme Kai's voice was grave, his demeanor serious. Both Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito remained perplexed by the cryptic warnings. We don't understand? Elder Kai, please enlighten us. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Chapter 59, The God of Destruction, Lord Beerus. Scion Dragon Ball, real author. Fake author/translator Zach, King, Rex. Your gift is the motivation for my laziness. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it? Add to the library. Have some idea about the story? Comment on it and let me know. Chapter 59, The God of Destruction, Lord Beerus. Chapter 59, The God of Destruction, Lord Beerus. Elder Kai. The overwhelming aura of Lord Beerus, the God of Destruction, is incredibly potent, and it carries the essence of divinity. In the brief span of time just now, several planets were obliterated. The two idiots before me remain completely oblivious to this phenomenon. And yet, despite this, he had the potential to ascend to the position of Supreme Kai. Undoubtedly, this is the most feeble existence among all the preceding Supreme Kais. Furthermore, Supreme Kais and gods of destruction are intertwined entities. These two fools seem to possess no knowledge whatsoever of the existence of Lord Beerus, the god of destruction. I fail to comprehend why those beings from the past insisted on retaining such a buffoon. Gods of destruction. Lord Beerus? Both of them stood in stunned silence for a brief moment before exchanging glances once again. Evidently, the concept of gods of destruction Beerus had not even brushed against their understanding. They had never encountered this name before. Hence, regardless of their location, both of them label themselves as supreme gods in the cosmos. It wouldn't be incorrect to deem you the most ineffectual Supreme Kai. Even to remain unaware of Lord Beerus. The elder Supreme Kai cursed anew, unperturbed by the expression on Supreme Kai Shin's face. Subsequently, he embarked on enlightening the two individuals about gods of destruction, unraveling for them the intricate connection between these gods and Kais. Incidentally, he divulged to them the primary responsibilities of Supreme Kais and gods of destruction. In essence, we, the Supreme Kais, bear the responsibility of creating and maintaining planets. The gods of destruction, in stark contrast, are charged with the obliteration of planets. For the elder Supreme Kai, this was an uncommonly meticulous explanation. For when it comes to gods of destruction, a certain level of prudence must be exercised. Although these two imbeciles have yet to acquaint themselves with the presence of Lord Beerus, the god of destruction. As the Supreme Kais of this universe, they are bound to encounter him sooner or later. In that eventuality, it would be most unfortunate if they fail to recognize Lord Beerus, the god of destruction. Perchance, driven by a fit of fury, Lord Beerus might unleash ruin upon countless planets. Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito swiftly assented. Subsequently, they inquired in haste, Elder Kai, does this imply that Lord Beerus, the god of destruction, must adhere to the principle of universal balance in his acts of destruction? For instance, are the planets he chooses to annihilate the ones deemed redundant? This is how they perceive their duty. Their actions do not encompass aimless creation. Rather, they are guardians of universal harmony. Should an excess of planets come into being, it could potentially disrupt the equilibrium of the entire universe. In this context, is deemed an error in their work. Therefore, by analogy, it stands to reason that the destructive endeavors of gods of destruction should likewise follow certain regulations. A naive notion. Lord Beerus pays no heed to regulations when extinguishing planets. His acts of annihilation stem purely from his own interests. He unmercifully eradicates planets he deems unfavorable or beyond his comprehension. The elder Supreme Kai shook his head with a tinge of helplessness, concluding his explanation by casting a gaze skyward. For he had just perceived the spontaneous disappearance of two planets. This is the unmistakable handiwork of Lord Beerus. The aura of the god of destruction, an aura that struck dread into his heart, cannot possibly be misidentified. Very well. What a fearsome god! What steps should we now take, Elder Kai? Should we permit Lord Beerus to unleash mayhem? Supreme Kai Shin inquired once more. In the end, creating a planet is no simple feat. If destruction is guided by mere whim, even planets boasting elevated degrees of civilization may fall prey. Bear in mind, planets with higher degrees of civilization often present greater challenges in their creation. Additionally, nurturing a lengthy history, culture, and civilization is no trifling matter. Certain planets may necessitate tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of years for such development. Contrastingly, Lord Beerus can erase them with but a thought. This scenario appears conspicuously unjust. What alternatives exist? Lord Beerus, the god of destruction, is an entity none can oppose. Consider Goten as an example. Despite his prodigious strength, he remains invincible in your estimation. However, let it be known that Goten's might pales considerably in comparison to that of Lord Beerus. Without exaggeration, a full display of Lord Beerus's power could potentially annihilate Goten in an instant. The Elder Supreme Kai reiterated gravely. Admittedly, Goten is undeniably potent. Among both mortals and even gods, his prowess is a rarity. He far exceeds the might of these Supreme Kais. Yet, there exists an insurmountable chasm between him and Lord Beerus, the god of destruction. What? Annihilating Goten instantly? Is that not an excessive claim? Upon hearing the Elder Supreme Kai's somber tone, both Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito were rendered utterly speechless. One must appreciate that, in their perception, Goten represents an invulnerable entity. Moreover, the gap between the former Supreme Kai and Goten is substantial. And yet, the assertion that Lord Beerus, the god of destruction, could instantaneously eliminate Goten is almost preposterous. Excessive? Not at all. It is no exaggeration. The Elder Supreme Kai responded promptly. Having borne witness to the might of Lord Beerus in the past, he understood it better than anyone else. He continued, "At present, our only course of action is to ensure that we do not provoke the ire of the Lord Beerus. Should an inadvertent provocation occur, the toll could encompass countless planets, and possibly even the entire galaxy." Currently, his foremost concern did not pertain to the two dunces before him. After all, with a modicum of guidance, they would scarcely dare provoke Lord Beerus. His chief apprehension revolved around Goten. For the young warrior possesses superlative strength, and even more importantly, youthfulness persists within him. Though he may surpass his peers in terms of maturity and composure, the impetuosity typical of youth remains. Should he unintentionally provoke Lord Beerus? Earth would undoubtedly face instantaneous obliteration. Subsequently, the entire northern galaxy would plunge into a state of profound jeopardy. The forebears have conveyed such guidance, hence it is only natural that we refrain from inciting the wrath of gods of destruction Beerus. Our wish. Supreme Kai Shin paused momentarily. Then he resumed, "Our hope is that Lord Beerus shall never set foot in the northern galaxy. Should he cross paths with Goten, the consequences would be dire." The countenance of the Elder Supreme Kai darkened, and he voiced his apprehension. "Of all my concerns, that individual is my paramount worry. Moreover, Goku, Vegeta, and other scions have also arrived on Earth. Those individuals are no trifling adversaries. If only Goten were in question, the matter might be less grave. After all, Goten is inclined to listen, but that Goku seems to not take anything seriously. Who would fight with his own son as soon as they met? He might challenge Lord Beerus if they meet. Yes. Let's hope Lord Beerus doesn't visit Earth. However, Earth is the most distant planet in this galaxy. Under normal circumstances, Lord Beerus wouldn't bother with such an insignificant planet, right? Supreme Kai could only offer prayers. All they could do was hope. If Lord Beerus were to actually come to Earth, then they'll have to rush over and inform Goten beforehand, so he can be prepared. Meanwhile, in the vast expanse of the Western Galaxy. Rumble. A magnificent burst of fireworks painted the sky as a planet vanished from the universe. Standing not far away were two figures. Upon closer inspection, it was unmistakably gods of destruction Beerus and Angel Whis. At this moment, Beerus had his hands behind his back, his eyes slightly narrowed as he gazed upon the splendid display before him. The fireworks created by a planet's explosion truly are the most captivating spectacle. I've already reached my 10th target, yet I still can't recall that individual's name. It appears that more planets need to be eradicated. Beerus squinted, casually commenting to Whis by his side. The more he struggled to remember the name of his rival from his dream, the more agitated he became. I must find that individual for certain. I need to ascertain if they are worthy of being my rival. Even if they prove to be a formidable opponent, I can relish a grand confrontation. After all, for the past several million years, ever since gods of destruction were permitted to engage in private combat, he hadn't encountered a more potent adversary. Ooh. Lord Beerus, is it truly wise to indulge in such careless destruction? Annihilating a planet is a serious matter. Proper consideration should be given to the value of each planet, and a comprehensive plan for destruction should be formulated. Your approach seems far too casual. Engaging in such reckless behavior could potentially lead to a decline in the overall strength of our seventh universe. Angel Whis sighed, then turned his gaze toward Beerus, conveying his exasperation. In truth, gods of destruction across multiple universes exercise conscientiousness. Before obliterating a planet, they contemplate a series of factors. They evaluate whether a planet is truly expendable or holds significance. Only after such deliberation do they proceed with destruction. Yet, the idea of thoughtful contemplation seemed foreign to Lord Beerus. When his mood sours or a certain planet displeases him, he simply annihilates it with a wave of his hand. This approach may indeed save time and effort. However, it subtly diminishes the collective strength of the universe. Tisk. I don't bother with such considerations. In any case, as long as I surpass the other gods of destruction in terms of power, I have no interest in their so-called comprehensive abilities. I merely want to swiftly locate my dreamed of rival. Beerus dismissed the matter disdainfully. To him, defeating the other gods of destruction suffices as a testament to his worth. Why should he concern himself with the universe's comprehensive strength? After all, for millions of years, neither Grand Priest nor Lord Zeno had disclosed the rankings of the 12 universes. Oh! Angel Whis could only continue sighing, opting not to delve further. If Beerus insisted on pursuing this course of action, any negative outcomes would fall squarely on his shoulders. So long as it didn't transgress angelic principles, Whis wouldn't bear responsibility. While conversing, Beerus remained fixated on the fireworks emanating from the planet's detonation. Just as the fireworks were on the brink of fading, a shadow of a figure materialized within the flames. That individual. Yes, that's the rival from my dream. Seeing the shadow similar to in his dream, the name spontaneously surfaced in Beerus's mind. Super Scion God. The name escaped Beerus's lips. At last, the name resurfaced. Super Scion God? Is this the name of the adversary you foresaw in your dream? Upon hearing the name, Whis too inquired with intrigue. He had never encountered the term Super Scion God. However, the inclusion of God in the name hinted that the individual might be akin to gods of destruction like Beerus. As an angel, Whis had a deep appreciation for Lord Beerus's might. Human beings couldn't possibly measure up, and as for opponents of great strength. That's right. That's the name. Super Scion God. Beerus nodded solemnly. At that instant, the fireworks had dissipated entirely. Likewise, the shadow within the pyrotechnics had vanished. Whis, quickly investigate this person for me. Let me know where they are. Regardless of whether they're mortal or divine, I must engage them in battle today. I just hope they don't disappoint me too severely. Beerus's eyes narrowed, burning with a fervent desire for combat. The name had finally returned to him. Now, he required Wiss's assistance to locate this individual. He yearned for a thrilling clash. He wanted to ascertain whether this individual lived up to the rival depicted in his prophetic dream. Very well. Whis assented with a nod. He raised his staff slightly and began to scrutinize the gems embedded within it. The staff wielded by an angel wasn't a mere ornament, it possessed potent abilities. It could grant insights into nearly every facet of the universe, including historical events. After a minute of careful observation, Whis shook his head. Then he remarked, Lord Beerus, there's no record of anyone named Super Scion God in our seventh universe. It appears that the formidable adversary from your vision might not belong to our seventh universe.
for, if they did, Whis, as an angel, would undoubtedly have detected their presence.
Impossible. There can't be anyone else from another universe. Beerus flatly rejected the notion. He began pondering intently. Super Scion God? Scion? It's plausible that this so-called Super Scion God has a connection to those Scions who pride themselves as a warrior race. It must be so. By finding a surviving Scion within the 7th universe, there's a good chance of encountering the Super Scion God. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Chapter 60, Super Scion God. Scion Dragon Ball, real author. Fake author/translator Zach, King, Rex. Your gift is the motivation for my laziness. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it? Add to the library. Have some idea about the story? Comment on it and let me know. Chapter 60, Super Scion God. Chapter 60, Super Scion God. Whis, hurry up and find out where the Scion from our 7th universe is now, Beerus exclaimed impatiently to Whis, his thoughts racing. He had to locate his dream rival today, no matter what. This was the so-called Super Scion God, after all. Could he truly embody the term God? Was he worthy of becoming Beerus' rival? Lord Beerus, are you still dreaming? Whis inquired. Let's not forget that Frieza annihilated the Vegeta planet, where the Scions lived, decades ago, Whis continued. Ho ho! If I recall correctly, it was your command that set Frieza in motion. Whis added with a hint of complaint before addressing Beerus. In reality, Beerus could be quite childish. He remembered how King Vegeta had reserved the most comfortable pillow in the universe for himself, gifting Beerus a slightly inferior one. This act had sparked Beerus' belief that King Vegeta didn't respect him adequately, leading him to instruct Frieza to obliterate planet Vegeta. Ridiculous. Is that even true? I've long forgotten about it. Nonetheless, those Scions were far too arrogant. Mortals who lacked reverence for a god deserved eradication, Beerus sneered with evident disdain. Mortal beings ought to revere a god, Beerus thought. A feeble and arrogant individual like King Vegeta deserved destruction. Alright then, please help me ascertain if there are any survivors, Beerus requested. While Frieza obliterated planet Vegeta, numerous Scions must be on missions across different planets. Some might have survived, Whis reported. All Beerus cared about at the moment was locating the so-called Super Scion God. The incident of him instructing Frieza to destroy planet Vegeta had long faded from his memory. A single planet in the 7th universe held little significance to him. Very well. Whis nodded in agreement, beginning the search for surviving Scions. Decades-old survivors of the Scion race were promptly discovered. Among them were Goku, Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa. Images of Raditz and Nappa's deaths and Goku's defeat of Frieza were presented to Beerus. Seeing Goku defeat Frieza even surprised Beerus. He was aware of the Scion's combat prowess, which paled compared to Frieza's might. Only King Vegeta's offspring exhibited slight promise. After a few minutes of watching, Whis elegantly gestured, and the images vanished. He then conveyed to Beerus, Lord Beerus, the Scions who defeated Frieza and Prince Vegeta are deceased. Only 2 Scions survived. One is another prince from planet Vegeta, though he's considered a talentless waste by their standards. There's also a Scion child of mixed heritage, the progeny of the Scion who killed Frieza. Whis calmly provided this information. The whereabouts of the other Scions remained undiscovered. Interesting. Between the two, who was the stronger one? Beerus inquired. This was vital information since the stronger Scion might hold the secrets to the being called Super Scion God. Goku's son holds the greater strength. He appears to possess qualities that surpass both Goku and the late Frieza, Whis shared with earnestness. This revelation amazed him. Frieza's power was considerable, his self-proclaimed title of Universal Emperor was no mere boast. For decades, he had aided Beerus in governing their universe, facing no real challengers. Now, a mere child demonstrated power exceeding Frisia's.
Fascinating. Where can I find this individual? Take me there at once. Beerus nodded smugly, his impatience evident.
The Super Saiyan God was like a meat piece stuck in his teeth. Until he confronted and defeated this opponent, his frustration would persist. Whis surveyed his staff and responded, "He resides on a remote planet in the northern galaxy, referred to as Earth."
Earth? This is my first encounter with such a planet.
After making the necessary preparations, we shall travel to Earth immediately.
Beerus expressed a touch of hesitation.
Though he had little interest in an underdeveloped planet like Earth, it might be the only path to discovering the Super Saiyan God.
Agreed, Beerus-sama. Whis nodded once more, tapping his staff lightly against the ground.
In an instant, their forms transformed into brilliant streams of light, vanishing from sight.
Meanwhile, on Earth, Bulma's birthday festivities were in full swing. Having been bested by Goten, Goku had no intention of resuming their match.
He had been on Earth for only a day and was eager to savor its cuisine. After all, Master King Kai's cooking was far from exceptional.
Wow! Earth's cuisine remains unparalleled. You're absolutely right, Vegeta.
I've grown rather tired of Master King Kai's meals.
Goku spoke with a mouthful of food, addressing Vegeta.
Tisk. Vegeta retorted with disdain, concentrating on his own meal.
He had no intention of conversing with that imbecile Kakarot. In response, Vegeta quickened his eating pace. Clearly, he was determined to outdo Kakarot even in this aspect. Observing Goku and Vegeta's voracious consumption, Chi-Chi and Bulma exchanged knowing smiles. Their reunion was filled with unspoken joy. Meanwhile, Goten consumed skewers with little care. What a strange feeling. Goten mused, sensing an impending ominous event.
A few minutes earlier, an unsettling feeling had gripped him suddenly. This feeling is entirely new, it's never occurred before, Goten reflected. Today is Aunt Bulma's birthday, will the god of destruction Beerus still show up? Watching these vibrant birthday celebrations, Goten pondered. In the original Dragon Ball series, the day Beerus came to Earth coincided with Bulma's birthday party. The scene feels remarkably familiar. However, at this moment, everyone was engrossed in conversation and laughter, seemingly oblivious to any ominous signs. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed in his mind.
Goten, can you hear me?
It was the voice of Supreme Kai Shin. Upon hearing Supreme Kai's voice, Goten furrowed his brows slightly. His intuition suggested that his previous assumption might indeed be correct. Supreme Kai wouldn't contact him unless it was of utmost importance. And from Supreme Kai Shin's tone, it was evident that this was a matter of great significance.
Yes, I can hear you. Is there something Supreme Kai wishes to discuss with me? After contemplating for a moment, Goten silently responded in his thoughts. After all, communication with these deities didn't require spoken words. Goten, you must listen closely to every word I'm about to say, every single word. And you must firmly etch it into your heart, as this matter could influence the fate of Earth and even the entire northern galaxy. With these two statements, Supreme Kai Shin's tone grew even more solemn. Clearly, this was a monumental issue, an exceedingly massive one. Otherwise, he wouldn't speak with such gravitas. This further solidified Goten's conviction. Without a doubt, the god of destruction Beerus was about to make an appearance. Perhaps Supreme Kai and Kibito weren't aware of the existence of the god of destruction, let alone recognize him. However, the elder Supreme Kai had been unsealed. Whenever the god of destruction Beerus initiated planetary obliteration, the elder Supreme Kai would undoubtedly sense it. Master Supreme Kai, if you have something to convey, please proceed. I'm all ears.
Though his certainty was around 99%, Goten still conveyed his respectful agreement.
After all, Supreme Kai's disposition was quite amicable. Moreover, Goten considered him a friend. It's like this: there is currently a god of unparalleled might and dread closing in on the northern Milky Way. Based on our elder speculations, it's highly probable that he's heading for Earth. This god's power is so immense that we can't even fathom it. There exists a dimensional chasm between him and even you. Of course, I understand that it's challenging to believe and accept, but please trust every word I utter. Whatever you do, avoid provoking him, or else the entire universe will confront an immense crisis. The strength of this god far surpasses that of Janemba and Majin Buu. Supreme Kai Shin reiterated, his tone intensely serious. These words were passed down word for word by the elder Supreme Kai. Truthfully, even Supreme Kai Shin himself found it difficult to believe that the so-called god, the god of destruction Beerus, could eliminate Goten in an instant. However, he chose to have faith in what the elder Kai had stated 15 generations ago. Furthermore, the elder Kai wouldn't jest about such matters. Considering his naturally timorous character, he was more inclined to believe than to doubt. This is a grave situation. Rest assured. Given this god's formidable power, I won't provoke him. Goten immediately concurred. This was his firm conviction, that the approaching figure must be the god of destruction Beerus. And the preceding words were most certainly imparted by the elder Supreme Kai. That's a relief. Also, ensure that Goku-san and Vegeta-san are made aware of what you've just learned. Given their impulsive natures, this is crucial. Supreme Kai reiterated once more. He maintained his trust in Goten. After all, Goten possessed a composed disposition. Conversely, Goku and Vegeta harbored the intense fighting spirit inherent to pure-blooded scions. This was evident in Goku's return to Earth for a battle against Goten. Understood. Goten once again concurred. He was, in truth, somewhat perplexed. Although he now possessed the legendary Super Saiyan and the potential unlocked by Elder Kai, he acknowledged his inadequacy against the god of destruction Beerus. A significant gap likely separated their strengths. Just as Supreme Kai had expressed, the god of destruction's full power might be sufficient to obliterate Goten instantly. Hence, Goten was hesitant to confront the god of destruction. However, he possessed a system and the divine ability Kai, an emblem of considerable power mastery. Even if he wasn't on par with Beerus, escaping wouldn't pose a challenge. Furthermore, in the event of a clash with Beerus, Goten could potentially learn from Beerus' abilities. For instance, God's techniques like energy of destruction or even better Hakai. If he could grasp this power, it could yield significant benefits. This predicament left him conflicted. While a confrontation with Beerus could bring substantial rewards, it also harbored immense peril. Offending Beerus could endanger not only Goten but the entire Earth. Every inhabitant could be imperiled. As these thoughts swirled in his mind, Goten's brows furrowed deeper. His turmoil escalated. Opportunities and perils often coexisted. Yet, many individuals hesitated to take the risk. The stakes were undeniably high. While mulling over these considerations, Goten was suddenly overcome by intense apprehension. Though he didn't detect any formidable aura, he couldn't perceive the divine energy without employing ultra instinct. However, in that instant, every hair on his body stood on end. Abruptly, he turned his head and gazed skyward. Two figures met his eyes: a slender hairless purple feline and a tall, silver-haired individual with light blue skin. These were none other than the god of destruction Beerus and the angel Whis from the 7th universe. Upon seeing them, Goten's pupils contracted. These two are indeed fast. Oh, he noticed us this quickly? Impressive indeed. Beerus sported an astonished expression. After all, amidst the crowd, only Goten had detected their presence. Moreover, this youth was merely a mortal. Perceiving the God Key should have been beyond his capacity. This unconscious ability to discern danger and apply swift judgment showcased Goten's mastery. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Chapter 61, God of Destruction, Beerus arrive. Scion Dragon Ball, real author. Fake author/translator Zach, King, Rex. Your gift is the motivation for my laziness. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it? Add to the library. Have some idea about the story? Comment on it and let me know. Chapter 61, God of Destruction, Beerus arrive. Chapter 61, God of Destruction, Beerus arrive. Indeed, Lord Beerus. He was able to spot us so quickly. This isn't really the level of vigilance one would expect from mortals. Whis also chimed in with mild surprise. Mortal beings usually can't sense the presence of gods, so the fact that this young man could was quite remarkable. His ability to assess danger was equally impressive. In fact, this talent could make him an excellent candidate to learn Ultra Instinct. Only after hearing Whis and Beerus converse did Goku and Vegeta react. They immediately set down their food and turned their heads to look at Beerus and Whis. Ha! Who are those two guys? They're dressed quite oddly. It's somewhat reminiscent of King Kai and the others. Goku scratched his head, expressing his uncertainty. He couldn't detect any ki from their bodies. I haven't seen them before. They can't be from Earth, Krillin shook his head. Such attire and appearances were rare on Earth. Everyone began trying to sense the ki of the two newcomers but couldn't detect anything. Despite appearing behind us so quietly, we didn't notice them at all. These two must be incredibly powerful. Piccolo remarked, turning to Goku. Guardian Dend, standing nearby, shivered involuntarily when he saw Beerus and Whis. He sensed an overwhelming oppression from the depth of his soul, filling him with extreme fear. He was well aware that this oppressive force stemmed from gods, indicating that the two individuals before them were indeed gods, and likely of a very high order. Otherwise, they couldn't exert such a terrifying presence. That face seems familiar. I think I've seen it somewhere before. Vegeta stared intently at Beerus, feeling a nagging familiarity but unable to place it. Suddenly, Beerus looked back at Vegeta, narrowing his eyes and emitting an overwhelming aura of power. Vegeta's pupils constricted, and he began sweating profusely. Nani? Beerus, the god of destruction. With Beerus' gaze, Vegeta finally remembered. He had felt this same paralyzing fear when he was just 5 years old, as Beerus had ruthlessly defeated his father and treated his father like a dog. The eyes he saw now were identical to those from his childhood memory. Vegeta had recognized Gods of Destruction Beerus. Gods of Destruction Beerus? Why have I never heard you mention this name, Vegeta? Is he your friend? Goku inquired, puzzled by the unfamiliar name and Vegeta's reaction. Goku and the others were surprised by Vegeta's fear. Not much could intimidate him. However, Beerus had succeeded in doing so with just a glance. He's a god, a very powerful one, Dend interjected, affirming everyone's suspicions. The inability to sense their aura confirmed their divinity. Beerus turned his attention to Vegeta and spoke, "Long time no see, Prince Vegeta. But daring to address me by my first name, do you value your life so little?" Beerus spoke calmly, yet his presence was deeply unsettling. Vegeta trembled and replied respectfully, "My apologies, Lord Beerus. I momentarily lost my composure." Goku and the others witnessed this unprecedented display of respect. Not even Vegeta had shown such deference to Frieza in the past. It was clear that the fear ran deep. TSK. How disappointing. The Scion Prince has lost his edge, Beerus commented disdainfully. He had hoped Vegeta would provide some entertainment. Goku wasn't pleased with Beerus' arrogance. He shook his fist in response. Whoosh! Goten suddenly appeared in front of Goku and advised in a hushed tone, The power of gods of destruction, Beerus, is beyond our understanding. We shouldn't even consider challenging him. We wouldn't stand a chance.
Goten wasn't downplaying their abilities, he was emphasizing the importance of not being rash. He also knew that Beerus was particularly irked by those who disrespected gods.
Is he stronger than you, Goten?
Goku asked, surprised by Goten's caution.
This surprised him but also piqued his interest even more. Yes, he's much stronger than me, Goten immediately nodded. The gap between him and Beerus was undeniable.
At that moment, Whis noticed something peculiar: halos above Goku and Vegeta's heads. He informed Beerus, Lord Beerus, it appears that Goku, Vegeta and his friends have received special approval to return to the real world after they died. Normally, when people die, only their souls remain. But these guys still have their bodies and have returned to the real world.
It seems someone in the underworld made an exception. This revelation cast an uncomfortable atmosphere.
Despite their contributions to the universe, death should be a final state. Returning to the real world was an irregular occurrence.
TSK.
It looks like those guys need be taught a lesson, Beerus muttered. However, he quickly shifted his focus to his original purpose, saying, but what concerns me more right now is the Super Saiyan God.
He stared at Goku and Vegeta and asked, hey, you two are Saiyans, right? Have you ever heard of someone called the Super Saiyan God?
Goku and Vegeta exchanged uncertain glances, indicating their lack of knowledge.
Super Saiyan God? What's that? Goku asked. Vegeta, irritated, retorted, how would I know? Can you please keep quiet, Kakarot? Goku had a tendency to ask questions even when he didn't have the answers. Tisk. It seems like you don't know, Beerus sighed. Well, it's been a wasted trip.
Beerus had traveled for half an hour to reach this remote planet, hoping to find information about the Super Saiyan God.
Now it seemed he had come up empty-handed.
Goten frowned, considering whether a good fight with Beerus might dissuade him from destroying the Earth, as he remembered from the original story.
Perhaps he could even learn some of the God of Destruction's techniques.
Lord Beerus, I told you it was just a regular dream, Whis interjected. There's no such thing as a Super Saiyan God in this universe.
Shall we go back, then? The ice cream at home won't taste good if it's been frozen for too long, Whis suggested.
While Earth's technology might be behind in some aspects, it boasted a high level of mortal strength, and the planet played a significant role in the universe.
Since I've come all this way, it's not my style to turn back empty-handed, Beerus declared.
If we can't find the Super Saiyan God, then I'll just have to destroy this backward planet.
Beerus didn't seem to think twice about destroying a planet and its inhabitants, as if it were a casual activity. Upon hearing Beerus' intentions, everyone clenched their fists.
As Earth's protectors, they would not allow anyone to destroy it, regardless of the adversary's strength. Vegeta, however, was particularly apprehensive. He knew that even if they joined forces, they wouldn't stand a chance against the overwhelming power of the God of Destruction.
Goten was prepared as well.
If Beerus intended to destroy Earth, he was ready to fight to the death for the planet and his loved ones. Suddenly, Goku stepped forward, his expression serious as he looked at Beerus.
He declared, hey! Even though we don't know who you are, and we're not sure how strong you are, one thing is certain, we won't allow our hard-earned Earth to be casually destroyed. Piccolo and Krillin joined Goku, their resolve unwavering.
They were ready to confront Beerus, even if he was a god.
Oh? A bunch of little pests think they can challenge the God of Destruction, who has a power that you simple mortal can't even comprehend? Beerus sneered, dismissing their efforts.
In his eyes, they were like insignificant insects easily crushed.
Goten stepped up and addressed Goku and the others, you should step back. The gap in your strength and his is immense. He understood that their futile sacrifice was unnecessary. Goten's declaration prompted everyone to take several steps back.
They trusted Goten's strength, and if he couldn't handle Beerus, there was no point in risking their lives.
Goten? All eyes were on Goten, awaiting his action. Without hesitation, they retreated, recognizing the vast difference in power. Goku understood the situation as well and respected Goten's decision. This battle would be an opportunity to gauge Beerus' strength. Once everyone had stepped back, Goten addressed Beerus, saying, "Lord Beerus, are you searching for the Super Saiyan God to find a worthy opponent to battle with?" He continued, "Well, then. I'll be your opponent." "You?" Beerus looked at Goten with disdain. After all, Goten was just a child, and his strength was seemingly inconsequential. "That's right," Goten affirmed. "Since you are here, it won't hurt to give it a try." Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Chapter 62. God of Destruction, Beerus vs. Legendary Super Saiyan, Goten. Saiyan Dragon Ball, real author. Fake author/translator Zach, King, Rex. Your gift is the motivation for my laziness. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it? Add to the library. Have some idea about the story? Comment on it and let me know. Chapter 62, Chapter 62. God of Destruction, Beerus vs. Legendary Super Saiyan, Goten. Chapter 62. God of Destruction, Beerus vs. Legendary Super Saiyan, Goten. Don't become too overwhelmed, young Saiyan. It's undeniable that you possess an above-average skill that others lack, but do you believe you're qualified to challenge the gods of destruction? I've come here this time in search of the Super Saiyan God. I have no interest in you, little insects. Beerus frowned slightly and then regarded Goten with disdain. In his eyes, this young individual appeared to be like any ordinary mortal with a slightly enhanced vigilance, nowhere near the caliber of his dream rival. It was inconceivable that Goten could possess even a fraction of his power. Thus, facing such an opponent failed to pique his interest. He clearly preferred the spectacle of planetary explosions to battling these uninspiring adversaries. How can you know if you don't try? Goten responded earnestly. Even though he was reluctant to face Beerus directly at the moment, he understood that if no one intervened, Earth would likely face catastrophe. Perhaps by sacrificing his Saiyan pride and offering Beerus gourmet food, he could deter the deity, who was known for his love of fine cuisine. However, Goten found this task daunting. This is the real world where he lived with loved ones. He cannot rely on via what he watched in his past life and doing same thing, hoping it goes that way. Hoping for things to get better are for losers. For him, hopelessness is also an opportunity to grow stronger. Furthermore, engaging in combat with Beerus has high risk and high reward. Possibility of his godly ability dropping. But this might also inadvertently causing Earth's destruction. Despite the danger, it seemed worthwhile. If Beerus approved of his performance, it might spare Earth from destruction, much like in Dragon Ball Super. You insolent child who doesn't recognize the gravity of the situation, Beerus retorted. It appears you fail to comprehend the power of the gods of destruction. Nevertheless, since you're so eager to attempt it, I'll grant your request in a few moments. Initially indifferent, Beerus reluctantly agreed to Goten's plea. After all, it was only a matter of seconds. Yet, after those few seconds, the planet ceased to exist. Then, can you refrain from harming innocent people on Earth until our battle concludes? Goten implored. He knew that once they clashed, Earth could be obliterated in an instant. He wanted Whis to ensure Earth's safety during the confrontation. Ugh, what a nuisance, Beerus grumbled. Reluctantly, he glanced at Whis. Whis. Acknowledging Goten's bravery, Beerus assented to his request. Yes, Lord Beerus, Angel Whis replied respectfully. With a gentle tap of his staff on the ground, a green energy swiftly enveloped Earth. Every living being on the planet acquired a faint green aura, a simple task for an angel. Brat, I can't fathom why I agreed to your unreasonable request, Beerus muttered. However, if your strength fails to intrigue me even a little, I'll destroy this planet without hesitation, including you.
Beerus couldn't believe he had agreed to a mere mortal's request. Perhaps he held a glimmer of hope for the young scion before him. Still, he wouldn't hesitate to destroy them all if they disappointed him.
Yes. Goten nodded. Goku, will our son be okay? Shichi asked Goku with concern.
She couldn't gauge the strength of the cat-like being they were facing, but Goku and Vegeta's expressions indicated that he was a formidable adversary.
Moreover, Goten had admitted they couldn't defeat Beerus, heightening her anxiety. Don't worry, Shichi, Goku reassured her. If Goten's in danger, we'll rush to protect him without hesitation.
It was a comforting gesture, even if their odds against Beerus seemed slim. However, their only hope rested on Goten's shoulders now, that he might defeat Beerus or not.
Gohan added his own silent prayer.
Little brat, even though your strength makes me uneasy sometimes, give it your all to defeat Lord Beerus and show him the Saiyan spirit, Vegeta thought to himself, clenching his fists. He might not like Goku and his son Goten, who has surpassed his son, but he disliked Beerus even more. Come on, Goten. You can do it. Krillin cheered, lending his support. As Goten and Beerus ascended into the air, the tension mounted. They stopped at a height of about a few hundred feet above the ground. Beerus broke the silence, saying, "Brat, Saiyans possess those flashy transformations, right? They seem to enhance your strength, even if it's futile. Transform quickly. Otherwise, you might not even get a chance to fight with your current power." Having learned about Goku and Vegeta's transformations from Whis, Beerus expected Goten to have one as well. He anticipated that Goten's power surpassed that of Goku and Vegeta, so he urged him to transform. "You're absolutely right," Goten replied, his tone serious. While he might have refrained from using Super Saiyan under different circumstances, facing the immensely powerful Beerus left no room for hesitation. Conservation of strength was no longer an option. "Then transform already." Beerus growled impatiently, his teeth clenched in annoyance. In reality, he had little hope for Goten's abilities. He doubted Goten could contend with a god of destruction. And at this moment in the Supreme Kai world, Elder Supreme Kai seethed with anger as he roamed the god realm. "Idiots, they're all a bunch of idiots," he muttered. "I've given them such clear warnings," he continued. "I didn't expect them to still provoke Lord Beerus. Are they all complete fools who don't understand the disaster this could bring to the universe?" As he wandered, the Elder Supreme Kai couldn't contain his frustration. They had provided detailed warnings to Goten and the others, but it seemed they had forgotten everything. Trying to confront Lord Beerus, the god of destruction, was a reckless course of action that could lead to catastrophe. Hearing the Elder Supreme Kai's complaints, Supreme Kai Shin raised an eyebrow. He felt that this matter was not solely Goten and the others' fault. Lord Beerus was excessively tyrannical, destroying planets at a whim. In such a situation, was it wrong for Goten and the others to resist rather than passively await their destruction? He responded, "Elder Kai, I agree with all your previous statements and opinions. But I can't agree with you on this matter. I don't know how powerful Lord Beerus, the god of destruction, is, but he's threatening to destroy Earth, the very home that Goten and the others rely on for survival, the place they've protected for so long. For Goten, if Earth is destroyed, all hope is lost. Shouldn't we fight back under these circumstances? At the very least, fighting might give them hope, better than sitting idle and waiting for their demise." Supreme Kai Shin's words were firm and resolute, a departure from his usual meek demeanor. In the face of such an arrogant god of destruction, fighting back seemed like the only option. No one wanted to be a helpless lamb led to slaughter, especially not Goten, who possessed incredible strength. The Elder Supreme Kai looked surprised at Supreme Kai Shin's newfound determination. Though what he had said was true, fighting back was the only way out for Goten and the others, he believed that Supreme Kai Shin had a narrow perspective. From the viewpoint of protecting the entire universe, his words were equally valid. Back on Earth, Goten clenched his fists. "Ha!" A deep, primal roar erupted from his throat. Simultaneously, an immense aura burst forth from Goten's body. A powerful shockwave swept through the air, and visible energy ripples appeared in the sky. Green flames like Ki enveloped Goten, piercing through the clouds. At that moment, Goten's aura reached an unprecedented level of terror. Goku and Vegeta were astonished. While Goten had transformed before when facing Majin Buu and Janemba, this transformation was on a different scale. Goten was unleashing his full power. Whis, observing from the sidelines, couldn't help but glance at Goten upon sensing this immense increase in power level. There was a hint of surprise on his face. Although Goten's aura was still incomparable to Lord Beerus, it was undeniably formidable. In the entire 7th universe, aside from himself and Lord Beerus, there was no aura stronger than Goten's. Even Supreme Kai and the others paled in comparison to this young scion. Beerus, too, was taken aback. He hadn't expected such power from Goten. Is there such immense power hidden within such a small body? Beerus mused. No wonder you were so confident earlier. It appears you possess considerable strength. I underestimated you. Before, Beerus had believed he could defeat Goten with just a single finger. However, the current transformation had showcased an unprecedentedly powerful aura. Among all the opponents he had faced, except for gods of destruction from other universes, none had been stronger than this scion. Though Beerus had not found the Super Saiyan god he had dreamed of, Goten might prove to be a worthy opponent. Goten let out a triumphant roar as grass-green flames continued to envelop his body. His hair turned green, his pupils golden, and his upper body was bare, revealing the immense strength in his well-defined muscles. This was the legendary Super Saiyan form, a state of extraordinary power. At that moment, Goten was in the first stage of this form, a power that far surpassed the original Broly's. After all, he had reached a tremendous base power level after his potential bit only half being unlocked by the Elder Kai. It was undeniable, the current Goten exceeded the power of the Super Saiyan god. Lord Beerus, this is my transformed power, Goten said politely to Beerus. Beerus wore an intrigued expression. Interesting. You are indeed much stronger than I initially thought. It seems the upcoming battle won't disappoint me too much. Millions of years had passed since Beerus had last had a worthy challenge. Finally, it seemed, he could fully unleash more than 10% of his power. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Chapter 63. God of Destruction, Beerus vs. Legendary Super Saiyan, Goten Part 2. Saiyan Dragon Ball, real author. Fake author/translator Zach, King, Rex. Your gift is the motivation for my laziness. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it? Add to the library. Have some idea about the story? Comment on it and let me know.